We are an interconnected society. We ride the subway together, we walk the streets together, we send our kids to school together. If some of us are really struggling and not surviving, it affects all of us.
Street vendors.
Sex workers.
These are young people. Veterans.
Anyone who's been a victim of intimate partner abuse.
People with serious mental illness.
There are millions of working poor New Yorkers who are struggling to survive.
Really good, hard-working people just caught up in this tidal wave.
Where do they turn? How do they understand the system? They have no place to go.
A lot of these people have spent decades battling the system.
A system that almost seems designed to do exactly the opposite of what it's supposed to do.
There is a big gap between how the society lays out the law and how the law works.
The law is very difficult to understand.
You can't afford an attorney in New York City.
They're in crisis.
They're at their wits' end.
Anything involving the system and going to courts and all can be scary and intimidating.
They're fighting the system every day.
The story of the Urban Justice Center really starts in 1984. The only office I could find and afford was a burned-out building in East Harlem. I set up legal clinics and soup kitchens and started talking to homeless people. I saw injustice after injustice, and it gave me an opportunity to bring lawsuits and then ultimately expand the work.
We're there to provide non-judgmental civil legal representation and social services.
We have to do a lot of education and training, not only to government officials, but also to organizations that are our allies.
Outreach is a key component.
What we ultimately try to do is to provide them with the tools to actually define their life.
We understand where they've been, what they've been doing, and then we go to those places and see if there are other people there who also need services.
At the Urban Justice Center, we represent people that nobody else does, nobody else wants to, and part of that reason is because they're the hardest people to represent.
It's true that we have to be here at our office every day waiting for people to come, but we can't just be in the office. We go out into the streets.
We need to go to the hospitals and to the jails and to the prisons and meet with the clients where they are.
We run our legal clinics in these food pantries and soup kitchens as free legal clinics, first come, first served.
They'll come in, they'll sign in, they don't have to present any ID, there are no income limitations.
They're threatening me with eviction processes.
And then we go ahead and use the legal system to try and resolve those issues for them.
You try to do it by yourself and you don't know where you're going. I need a lawyer because I'm not a lawyer.
Having an advocate next to you in the courtroom can be incredibly empowering.
When we see he is a president, he used to be a lawyer, he's the executive of a company, he used to be a lawyer, so we think that lawyers, they stand for something.
The law can be one of the most powerful tools of change and empowerment.
Part of what we certainly want to do is give the people we work with the tools to advocate for themselves.
Workers in a restaurant are being paid $2 an hour. So they say to the employer, hey, that's not legal, you can't do this. And then all workers get fired. What recourse do they have?
The Urban Justice Center helps to support the organizing campaigns of groups like the Chinese Staff and Workers Association to fight for better working conditions.
My boss never pay overtime and never pay down to the minimum wage. They force you to work in 13, 12 hours.
Emotional, psychological abuse.
Grassroots organizations throughout the New York City area are doing fantastic work to organize workers to fight for better working conditions.
We, as organizers, we're not lawyers.
If you have a lawyer behind you, it really empowers the organizers to know that, if we have to go to the mat, we will, and we'll win on this case.
We are there with the client, and there is somebody who knows the law and knows the process, represents that client like the best law firms in the world would represent their clients.
Urban Justice Center was involved in a landmark case just a few years ago and really sent a message throughout the Chinatown community that this sort of practice will no longer be tolerated.
We feel that it's important to do both individual advocacy and systemic advocacy.
One of our greatest successes has been a food stamp case that we brought.
We were dealing with all of these individual clients who were having difficulties after they applied for food stamps. They weren't getting them.
Well, I rely on my food stamps because I only get one check on the first of the month from Social Security,
They didn't want to give me anything but $10. Well, what am I going to do with $10? I definitely can't eat for a month.
And it turned out hundreds of thousands of people might have been affected.
We see a systemic problem that we can go into federal court with so that we can get the problem resolved for every food stamp applicant in the city.
We won retroactive food stamps for tens of thousands of people, and the total retroactive award was over $12 million.
It was not far before Christmas, and it was kind of like a Christmas present too, you know.
The point of this lawsuit is that it did push them towards changing their entire system.
Seeing the impact that that case had on people in New York is just amazing.
This was like a gift from heaven.
Because we have so many projects under one roof, we have much more expertise.
It's just walking down the hall, and sometimes a simple legal question about their housing, for instance, or their benefits for someone with a mental health issue. We can get that question answered immediately.
It's all here under one roof at the Urban Justice Center, and so we really have that synergy of being able to offer so much in one place to all of the clients that we work with.
They get virtually complete freedom in running the project. And when you give somebody that kind of ownership, they will use all their energies and skills and creativity to do a terrific job.
I think when the economy is bad, folks on the margins are even more marginal. I mean,
The differences between eating and not eating, having housing and not housing.
I don't have any alternative. I don't have an out. Where am I going to go?
Not helping this population is not helping a huge portion of our constituents, of our people.
As a society, we really shouldn't let that happen. We can't let that happen.
If New York is going to succeed as such a difficult place, we need to have a safety net.
If we can take the voices of our clients and the experiences of our clients into rooms where those kinds of decisions are made, it can have a huge impact.
Time goes on and you actually can see progress. You can actually feel that progress, and it's one of these places where you can feel that hope and that excitement on an almost daily basis.
I appreciate everything they've done more than you can imagine, because there's not too many places somebody like me can go to.
They know which way to go. They know the right steps to take to get to where you need to or you want to go.
I've renewed confidence, like I can speak about these issues and that there are a few souls out there who understand what I'm going through.
they want to fight on. They want to make a positive contribution, and with our help, they can.
This is what makes the fabric of the world that you live in. Even though you think you're not touched by it, you're touched by it every single day.